Tails. Holy springtails. Well, here's another quick, this is going to be a real quick video. We'll add this into something along the line for this month. I separated my I had a big shoebox that was full of charcoal and water, which housed all my springtails. And I decided my brother wanted some because he needed some, so I said, I'll get you a starter culture, Exhibit A, starter culture for him. And then I separated mine into now substrate instead of just having them float on the water with the charcoal. Feeding these guys, keeping them alive, you want to keep the substrate damp, not saturated, but damp. We'll look at them here real quick. You should be able to see them crawling. Yeah, there you go. You'll see them crawling in and out of there. Okay, so keeping the substrate damper, but not to the point where it's saturated. You want no aeration in the enclosure, so don't have holes in them. I do have one that I'll show you in a second, and I'm trying something different. We'll see if it works. And of course, the one that I have for my brother here has got little holes in it already, so when he can put it in whatever he wants to. But feeding them, you can feed them bits of like mushrooms, even some fruit rinds if you cut them up real small. And what happens is mold will grow on those, and then the springtails will eat the mold. If your enclosure seems to get over inundated by mold, then stop putting things in there for them to eat. Let them finish eating the mold that's in there. Someone told me that you could throw, like cricket carcasses and stuff in there. I have not tried that as of today. So I may try that with the one culture and see how that goes the next time I get crickets, because I don't think I have any cricket carcasses left over. But yeah, there's quite a few in this culture, and they're buried down inside now because now they actually have the dirt. So you'll just see them crawling in and out now and then looking for food. So what I did with these ones is I gave them fish flakes, and the fish flakes should grow mold. The whole idea of keeping the enclosure without holes in it is to contain the humidity inside there to create that idea of growing mold. You can use yeast. There's two types of yeast, and I can't remember, one's organic, I think, and one's just regular yeast. Regular yeast is alive, the other one's not. So you have to be careful with the yeast, because if you use the non-organic, or I think that's what it is, non-organic, the one that's alive, and you don't open the enclosure every now and then, you'll get a buildup of CO2 or carbon dioxide inside there, and it will kill the whole entire culture for you. So be careful with the yeast. Josh's Frog sells these cultures, and he has a special powder, and the powder is to inhibit basically the growth of mold, and then the springtails will eat the mold, of course. So I thought that would be a quick something interesting for some of you. These I use in a handful of enclosures, not a ton of them, because again, I don't keep things very damp here. Even some of my Asian species I don't keep very damp, but if I do see an issue with some of them where you start to see some mold, these things are great at taking care of that. So you just kind of you can filter them with water, bring them up to the top, and then blow them into the enclosure if that's what you want to do. Or, take a spoonful of dirt, make sure you have some of the ice pods, and then put them inside that enclosure with the dirt, and they'll just find their way to whatever it is that they need to do. You will see them, if you use them in enclosures, if you have a water dish, they will congregate by the water dish. And they can just float on top of water. But people seem to have a little, I'm not really sure about the whole charcoal thing, and why. I was given them that way in a big box. They were in a big Tupperware with just a bunch of charcoal and just a little bit of water, and then my instructions were to add water to just where the charcoal is just sitting outside of that water, and they'll crawl over the charcoal. But again, I'm not really quite sure what the purpose of the charcoal is. I kept all of it. I'm not throwing the charcoal away, but I'm getting rid of the container that they were in, and then keeping them in these smaller containers. They breed better at 70 degrees or higher, so I'm going to make sure that these are going to go in the aquarium with that heat pad in it, along with my Cereocosmus ori. They're all going to be in that aquarium with the heater to keep everybody nice and warm. So again, just another quick interesting video. And then of course, okay, you have that one, and then there's a second culture that's mine, and then this culture here is just a little bit different. I put it in a 32-ounce deli cup, halfway filled. There's less Springtails. These are the remaining ones that I filtered out. So there's less in this than there is in those. But this one has that cloth top that you would find, you would use for fruit flies. So I want to see how this works with them, and see how these cultures go over the course of the next couple weeks. See how they grow. They reproduce very quickly. I guess it takes like 4 weeks from eggs to maturity on these little dudes, and I guess the males just leave packets of sperm, and then the females pick it up. That's just my quick reading and understanding of how these things breed and survive. So they'd be good in enclosures that, like the Asian species, that if you want to keep them damp, in your enclosures of like your centipedes from Asia, these would be great. These are great feeders for little tiny slings. So, like your L1 slings that just hatch into regular, actual quote-unquote tarantulas. When they molt into that, especially some of your smaller species, these are great to use as feeders. They will eat these pretty readily. So until they get to that stage where you can actually start using fruit flies and then cricket legs and so on and so forth. So again, another quick, something different, informational video to help you guys out if you're interested in doing these. Yeah, so again, we'll see everybody in the next one.